Hey, welcome back, everyone. Thank you for joining me today. I'm going to give you a little bit of Panda J, Julia's background, and why she's interested in the Olympics so much. So, long story short, which it's not going to be short, just kidding. So we signed her up for karate at the age of 5, and we were just looking to put her into something that would help her learn to defend herself and teach her some discipline and and all the positives that go with martial arts. And she just took to it like a duck to water. She excelled right away. Had a lot of fun with it. And after about a year goes by, the instructors kept talking about tournaments this, tournaments that, and we're like, where are these tournaments? We don't know anything about it. How do we get into them? So, they kind of, run it past us. And I say to Julia, who's, just turned 6, and I'm like, hey, what do you think of... Actually, I take that back. No, maybe she was 5. I think she was 5 going on 6 when she did her first tournament. And she goes out to this tournament in Chicago and wins 6-0, takes gold. And I'm like, holy cow, wow, she did really well. So, we signed up to another tournament, and she goes out and she goes undefeated again and wins gold again. So I'm like, wow, okay, so 2 in a row, so not a fluke. And then the third time she goes out, she wins gold again. So finally, now I got to talk to the lead instructor, Sensei Brett, and I'm like, hey Brett, I said, I'm dad. I know that, like, I think my kids are great at everything, like every dad does. I said, but does she have it? Is she just lucky that she's pulling off gold after gold, 3 in a row? I said, I'm just kind of curious, what your thoughts are. And he literally says, and he calls me Kitty. He doesn't call me Coach K, but he says, Kitty, and he goes, listen, he says, if you stick with me, in 2 years, she'll be a national champion. And I looked at him, he just had this deadpan serious face. And I said, you know what, Sensei? I said, I believe you. I really believe you. So lo and behold, we go to nationals that first year, and she makes it to, she goes out and she wins her first fight. And we're like, all right, cool. We just thought, she'll just go out there and she'll get kind of lit up because, now this is nationals. This is the big tournament. You have to win a tournament or finish in the top 3. You don't have to win a tournament. You have to finish, they send so many, but you're supposed to medal to get into it. It may, some tournaments may be up to 8 to 16 that get sent from each tournament that qualify you. And she wins her first tournament. And we're like, okay, her first fight. And we're like, okay, cool. Throws her in her winner's bracket. And then she wins, she gets like a body kick, 2 body kicks, and then, a jab. And she wins the next one. And we're like, holy cow, she's running through, once you get in that winner's bracket, if you keep winning, you advance really fast. So she comes up to her third fight. And she goes head kick, and the match is over. And we're like, holy cow, she's going to medal at nationals. And, now, she's down to like the final 4 kids at this point in time. And she makes it to the gold medal match. And we're like, holy cow. There's, me and my wife, we're like on the edge of our seats. You're like, we can't even take it. And we're like, wow, she's medaling. She's going to finish in the top 3 in the nation in karate in her first nationals, at the age of 6. And she goes out and she fights a bigger kid who, there's loopholes how you could fight down as a higher belt. And there's no doubt in my mind this kid was a higher belt than Julia. And Julia held her own, but just couldn't keep up with the kid. And she loses, it's like 4-2 or 5-2 or something like that, but put on a really good fight. And I remember, and I'm going to try not to get emotional. I know one of those emotional dads. And I remember she comes off the mat and she takes off her helmet and she's sweating. Now she's just a little girl at this time. And she's still a little girl. I mean, geez. But she takes off her helmet. She's all sweaty. She takes out her mouthpiece. Like she spits it out. She goes, Dad, did I do good? I'm like, yes, baby, you did great. Oh my God. I'm fighting back the tears. And I'm like, oh, you just finished second in the nation. Are you kidding me? Yes. Oh God, I'm so proud of you. Blah, blah, blah. And I'm like fighting it back. And like, holy cow, and she's all red faced and everything. It was just such an awesome dad moment. So we're like, holy cow, she's pretty good. So we go out the next year to nationals, and she has another great year. And she goes out to the next nationals, and they had a younger kid reffing and just wouldn't call anything. Not that he didn't call anything unfair, but he just wouldn't call any points. So it was almost like he was afraid to call points. And Julia was scoring points, and the other refs can't see it, and he's not calling. I'm like, oh my God, that scored, that scored. So she makes it to the gold medal match and ends up losing by a point. and I'm so frustrated because there was so many, you go back and you look at the video and you're like, oh my God, why didn't this kid call this point? Why didn't he call this head kick? There's like 4 or 5 points I count that he doesn't count. So she takes silver, and we're happy. She's back-to-back silvers. Now we're going into, she's progressed through the belts, and she's goes out and she's fighting in, the way they do. They have, beginner, novice, intermediate, and advanced. And advanced is the black belt division. And I'm sorry that there's nothing going on the screen yet. I'll get to that in a second. And she goes out her first two tournaments, and she wins gold, and then gold a third time. And finally I come back to Brett and I tell him, I'm like, listen, I said, she's not being pushed whatsoever. I said, she's just rolling over these kids. I said, do you think we should put her in the black belt division? And she's at this time she's 8 years old. We're going into her 8-year-old, 7 going on 8. And he's like, yeah, let's just put her in. Let's put her in the black belt division. And if she loses, who cares? It'll be experience that we're looking for. And then finally, when she's supposed to be in the black belt division, she'll just have such a head start on the kids that weren't, fighting there. So she goes out and she wins gold in her first tournament. We're like, get out. Like, she just won gold in the black belt division as an 8-year-old. And there's no 8-year-old black belt. So she had a fight in the 10 and 11-year-old division. So she's fighting these ginormous kids and just scoring points left and right on them. And we're just like, holy cow. So this continues. And then we go to nationals, and she fights in the 10-year-old division, and she takes gold. She's now a national champion. And then she goes off, and then she fights in the team event with 2 other girls from Indiana, and they win gold in team event. And that's so here's we can just pull this up and see while we're so. Here is the team event. Now you see this giant kid here, the tallest kid there? That's who Julia fought. Now this is Julia here. And this is the kid that she fought in the final match to win gold. And that kid's like 2 feet taller than Julia, and Julia beats this kid. Now these are the color. Now they all wear white, or they could wear black. This is the black belt division, so you're looking at the belts. Well, she's a white belt. Well, no, they are black belts, but you have the option of wearing the black or the white, when you compete. So she comes back after that year as a 2-time national champion. And we're like, holy cow. Jesus, she's, we're so ecstatic. So this random August, I'm out there picking up the mail out of my mailbox. And, she gets this letter from the National Karate Federation. And it says, congratulations, Julia Muhammad, you have been selected to the United States International Karate Team. And I'm standing by the mailbox, and I'm like, what? This can't be right. When I first got the letter, I'm like, oh, she must have left a certificate or something at nationals that first year. And this is at the Junior Olympics. She's a gold medalist at the Junior Olympics, and her brother, Gideon Big K, also pulled gold at the Junior Olympics. I'm trying to just give you some stuff before we get into other things here, just so you have something to look at instead of you're staring at my screen. And I'm in shock that I got this letter. And I walk in, and I don't want Julie to hear anything because I want to confirm and verify and all this. And I go, read this, and she's like, what is that? And I'm like, I think she made the U.S. team. And she's like, but she's 8. And I'm like, I know, right? And I said, I don't know. I thought you had to be, at this time, I thought you had to be 12 to make it. But it turns out for the Amateur Athletic Union, you only have to be 10. You have to win gold. It's gold and silver, and I know that they invite the bronze winner medalists as well onto the team, or you could go to team trials and try out for the team. So I sent a picture of the letter to Sensei Brett, and he's like, yeah, he goes, congratulations, that is an invitation onto the AAU USA team. She's going to represent the country. And, and at this time now, she is the number 1 ranked, at this time, she's now the number 1 ranked 8-year-old in the country because she took gold at nationals, and that you get that title in that division and then that sanction. And we're like, wow, okay, that's crazy. So we agreed to it, and as the team, so I don't even know where to start. I still was like, it's still hard for me to say things like, she's number 1 in the country and stuff like that. And with AAU, there are other sanctionings, but I mean, there's other kids that are really good fighters, But like I said, if you win national, you take gold at nationals, you hold the number 1 spot. So we do it, and and here's her jacket. When she got her jacket on, I actually had tears in my eyes when she put the jacket on. And when you see USA on the back of your kid's back, and you realize like how big it is now, it's hard to hold back your emotions. It's pretty crazy. And the first tournament was we went to Hawaii for her first international tournament. She took silver, and that's this one here. She took silver. She lost to Japan in a gold medal match. The judges scored the other girl a head kick on Julia that hit Julia in the shoulder. And you're not supposed to score that if it hits him in the shoulder. It's supposed to be a clean kick to the head. Now, Julia's still just 8 years old here. And, she's fighting these again are 10, 11-year-old, 12-year-old kids that she's fighting in international. So she's holding her own against kids that are 2, 3 years older than her in the black belt division. And my daughter is not a black belt yet. She won't be a black belt until probably August through the progression. She's on her last belt. She's prepping to be a black belt. So, I mean, she's close. But, in the beginning, she wasn't. She was a good year and a half away before she becomes a black belt. So, and then this here was, she's 2-time national champion, single division kumite for fighting. This was this past summer. She took gold and she retained the title. And so we get the letter for now she's going to be going to, I'm sorry, I'm kind of like stumbling around here. I'm going to let Julia, we're going to do a second video, just part one. I just want to go over some stuff with you guys. So the big tournament that she's going to as a member of the the USA team, the US team, is that they went to Scotland. They were going to Scotland for the World Karate Championships in Dundee, Scotland. And we get the letters, and it's, oh my God, it's like you're signing away your firstborn almost when you're going out of the country to represent your country. It's pretty crazy. And we get this letter in bold print. It says, athletes must be 10 years old to compete. And I'm like, well, hang on a second. She's only going to be, now, she made it as an 8-year-old, which turns out to be the youngest player ever the youngest athlete ever to make the team. She makes it because you're supposed to be 10 years old, and kids usually don't fight up. So she made it as an 8-year-old. Now, I call up the coaches and I said, hey, she's going to only be 9 come this tournament. I said, that's going to be a problem? And they said, yes. And they're like, she's not 10? And I'm like, no. I said, she fought in the 10-year-old division as an 8-year-old. And I said, and she's going to be turning 9 in April. And they're like, holy cow, we did not know that. We just took the winners. We invited the winners. We didn't even realize. So they had to petition the committee to get her to fight. Now, luckily, we fought in Hawaii I'm sorry, I'm stumbling here, in an international event, and she took silver. So because of her record in Hawaii, they let her compete in Scotland. What do I tell my kid who, thinks she's on the U.S. team, and I'm like, oh, by the way, hey, you can't go to Scotland now because you're too young. So, long story short, we go to Scotland, and there's 2,000 athletes there. So now she's representing the United States of America. She's got the flag on her gi. It's just, insane. Super proud dad moments here. And 2,000 athletes, and she has 23, 24 kids in her division for the 10-year-old division, like 18 different countries. And they can't score on her. And she gets it all the way down to the semifinal round and lost by a half a point and took bronze. And it was phenomenal for her to medal, out of the country against kids that were 2 years older, a year, 2 years older than her. It was like one of the proudest moments a dad could ever have. And you see, I still get choked up just talking about it because it's just amazing to me. And here she is. Let's do the other one first here. We'll pull this one out because we'll do the. So here she's on the podium holding, the U.S. flag, with her medal, with the president next to her, the president of the organization. And I'm literally in tears while I'm videotaping. I'm trying not to, when I'm videotaping her here, I'm trying not to, in Scotland, I'm trying not to cry on the camera. So, when we go back to look at it, oh, listen, dad's crying. And then again, maybe I want her to hear it, who knows. But, and then they put them together for a closer group shot. But hands down, one of the absolute coolest moments ever. And then, now she has a world ranking, which is it's still crazy insane for me to, believe, when I say that, I'm like, yeah, my daughter's ranked in the world. So here's, the shot that they do for, and they put together, and she got to do like 3 poses, and I'm not a big fan of the kicking pose. There were better ones, but this is just, Julie wanted that one. I'm like, oh, there was so much better picture, but okay, that's fine, whatever. It's, it's you. I'm not gonna tell you what you can and can't have. And there she's standing, at the World Karate Championships. She takes 3rd. So, her whole life, well, not her whole life, but since, I guess I shouldn't have said her whole life. Ever since preschool, she has always said, what do you want to be when you grow up? And she's like, I want to be on the U.S. karate team. And this is one of the punches that she scored in Scotland. So, it was almost like, and these kids were older than her and black belts. Again, Julie's not a black belt. She just takes to it so naturally. I mean, she works hard. Don't get me wrong. She works really, really, really hard. And I got some videos here that, now I did like a little slideshow on the thing from my phone, but it's just kind of a generic slideshow. Like the images don't really match up. So that's why I'm kind of like doing it this way. So, she came back from the dojo and they had her name on the thing, that she took 3rd in the world. And if you look at her pants, she's got pandas on them. When I tell you that, going Panda J, I mean, she loves panda bears. It's insane. Like really, really loves panda bears. And I don't even remember, the video. So she works really hard. And I mean hard, like when we're competing, this is the U.S. team. That was a castle that we got to stay in. We had over 100 athletes there, and we got to stay in this castle. We had the whole castle to ourselves. It was really, really cool. Like such a cool experience for my daughter and myself. And it was just too cold. My son and my wife stayed back, and just her and I went. So this was, so here's a quick video. This was, fast forward just a little bit, because it's in slow motion. So this was this past year at Nationals. This is the gold medal match. She's fighting another black belt. And this is a hooking heel. She's up a bunch of points, and this kid charges in, and she scores a hooking heel kick on her. Bang, right there, behind the head. And that locked up the match. That was the championship point right there for her 2nd individual national title. So my daughter, she's not eligible for the 2020 Olympics, but she's eligible for the 24 Olympics. And like I said, since preschool, she's always wrote, I want to make the U.S. team. I want to be in the Olympics, and that's why she has this passion for Olympians, is that, I'm not just like, I'm not just sitting here like dreaming, my daughter's going to make the Olympics. Like, Julie has a legitimate chance to make the Olympics. I mean, she's a true Olympic hopeful. She's got to keep going and keep training hard, but it's not like, oh, hey, we just joined karate a couple months ago, and now we're dreaming to be in the, it's not like a little 8-year-old boy saying, I want to be a major leaguer. It's a little bit different. Like, she's going out now and fighting other countries, and they're just, not that I'm like bragging, but they're just not as good as she is. And as long as she doesn't get hurt and keeps training and keeps working as hard as she does, she has a legitimate chance of being in the 2024 Olympics, which is still crazy as a dad to say. But like, to give you an idea of how hard, and I said, I got some little slideshow that I'll play in a second, but she works really, really hard. And this is her training partner, Sensei Matthew. He was there in Ireland and represented the U.S. And he's extremely hard on her. And Sensei Brett is insanely hard on her. She just puts the time in. Here they're working the front hand because she was telegraphing her movements, and he's like, no, you can't. You got to make it to where we can't see it. So she was able to fake with the front and fake with the leg, and came back with the reverse. And Brett represented the U.S. and the Pan Am Games, and he's phenomenal. Like I can't say thank you enough to that guy. He made my daughter what she is today in karate. And then I'll play. We're 20 minutes in, so I'll play. But we're gonna, Matthew just sit there and let her, kick him in the head. That was a legitimate kick to the head. If you watch again, like his head goes forward. You know, Matthew putting in the time, it makes me laugh every time I see that. Like he just takes that shot to the head. And then, she's so passionate with karate that her school talent show, I'm behind the screen, I'm behind the curtains because I'm going to go out there and hold boards for her to break. But she goes out and does a skit. This is kata, and then she does it for her talent show. So, I mean, she lives and breathes for karate, and she's a really good softball player too. Don't get me wrong, but I mean, Dad's a professional coach, so I'm biased. It's naturally she should be good at softball, but this is her true passion is karate. So she goes out there and she does this routine, which is called kata, MP. I'm not gonna play the whole thing because the video's starting to get long. But you get the idea that she absolutely loves this. I guess I do have, and here's to give you an idea of like how flexible she is. That's a kick. That's not him stretching her. That's one of her kicks. So that's doesn't matter how tall the kids are. She's can go 3 feet above her head with her leg. It's nuts. I thought I had a video of her breaking a board in here. Quick look. I don't see it. Oh, here. It's quick, but I think she got rewarded for working the hardest in class, and she got to break a board in front of everybody. And the boards are like a half an inch thick. They're not like balsa wood. I mean, so when she breaks the boards, these kids are really breaking some serious stuff. Now this is just some generic slideshow video that I'm gonna end the video on that I made with my phone. I just basically put my picture folder together and just said create slideshow, and this is pretty much what it created. See if I can get this to sit like this. Like I'm way longer than I wanted this video to be. And I'm going to do a part 2 with Julia and let her talk to you. I just wanted to, go over a couple things that it's easier when I'm talking by myself than, to get distracted or go off on another tangent with my daughter. So this video is about a minute long. And it just gives you an idea, you'll just see, it's basically some of these photos that I just showed you. And again, I'll just straight end it. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so. Give us a thumbs up, give me a comment. We look forward to trading with the people that said they wanted to trade, and hit that notification bell, and we'll see you in the next video. And I'll get this started here for you. That's media day. Thank you for watching.